Hello all, good evening. Welcome to this session of Maritime SheEO conference, which has been held second time in a row. Very pride moment for the maritime community in India as well as abroad. Somebody has taken the pains without much of gains, by the way, personally. But the gains are enormous for the woman seafarer. To hold this conference, highlight the right issues, and I'm very pleased to state that since morning I've been involved in the sessions of other leaders, other speakers, and panelists and participants. The response have been overwhelming. I mean, that would be the undermining word. But such a huge response from all over the world to a conference which is so dear to the maritime community. When I say community, I don't mean only sailing community. I don't only mean seafaring community. I also mean the business community. I also mean the support systems. I also mean the administration and everybody else. And that is why this particular session has a particular value in adding a right kind of topic. When this topic was told to me, and I said, yes, these things should be discussed, agitated, with none other than the people who are helping out our women seafarers in joining ships. Much has been done since last 10 years with the creating awareness, creating room for women seafarers and girls on board ship. Taking them on board was no easy thing. We all know the restrictions, we all know the compatibilities of cultures, of our systems, and on board, working cultures. But still, the decision somebody made and everyone followed. And there are many following. What pleases me today, that these kind of conferences, seminars, and the kind of discussions that we have do impact the ship owners, ship managers, bring them forward in the forefront, not only to employ women seafarers and create space for them, but also looking at their career advancement, looking at the right kind of culture on board, right kind of working environment on board. And ship owners and ship managers have done that time and again. We've been accommodative to all regulations from 1912, when the first ice patrol thing happened. Solars happened, Marpol happened, you name a thing after disaster, it has come into the shipping. And shipping companies, managers, international shipping have been accommodated. But this time, this kind of decision has been taken without any accident or calamity, without any compulsion or kind of possession, but on a sheer will and wish of maritime community, managers, ship owners, to space out some space to women seafarers, respecting gender equality. When I speak about gender equality, you just type a word in gender equality in Facebook and then you'll have 120 comments. In LinkedIn, same thing happens. I recently happened to post one firebrand, IPS officer's post on my LinkedIn page, and there have been 800,000 views, 8,000 likes, and about 1,000 comments. And people are, this is how the gender is so close to everybody's heart. And about gender equality, it is equally taken in the stride by merchant marine. So this session of ours today is a very right session. I would welcome the panelists. I'm also one of the panelists. I'm not assuming any role out here because we all have to be coming to the same page, discussing this issue, brainstorming, coming forward with the enthusiasm. because we are trying to find solutions for industry. So I would also request participants to mind this, that I'm here with my co-panelists, and of course, I don't think anybody, is there anybody who doesn't know them? But of course, young cadets and young girl cadets who are participant to this seminar may not know them. So I would definitely introduce them. Before that, I would do a justice to the topic, enter into a subject, and introduce a subject formally. The topic is very relevant. Relevant not because it is having gender at its heart. It is relevant because it has got safety at its heart. I look at that more. So we got the women seafarers on board. So we still have complaints coming up from everyone. Maybe there was recently a case in some shipping company where we had an issue on board. Fine. Things will only improve if somebody gives a feedback. And one of the very prominent feedback which came, which is the topic of this small panel discussion, is right fit. Now, we did brainstorm this 10 years back whether the women are right fit to the shipping profession and made into a seafarer. After successfully being done that for last 10, 12 years, I think it is time to see whether other women seafarers be able to perform on board the way they are required to perform. And what are the hurdles? If the competency is the hurdle, okay, we have got colleges, we have got mentoring sessions, we have got shipping companies, mentoring them, grooming them, increasing their physical ability and mental ability to be stronger, steadier, and more power to them, empowering them. Then we come to the equipments, we come to infrastructure. So this is about the equipment, the right fit. Simply talking about this topic is like, we got the women on board. Are we providing them with right kind of apparel? Are we providing them, the apparel which is suitable to their gender? Or they are forced to use, kind of unisex boiler suits and unisex separation. So what if your thumb is not absolutely fitting in the steel toe of a shoe? You can still walk. Are we putting that kind of unconscious bias into procuring equipment, supplying equipment to the ships, knowing that there's a woman on board, knowing that she will adjust, but she will not be safe. So the point where I'm coming from is, it's the cumulative responsibility of us, not only placing women on board, not only empowering them by making them an earning, kind of, or a job for on board vessel, but also see that everyone, not only again women, everyone on board is safely, competent enough, provided enough to work. So this is the topic today. We will discuss this topic with the panelists' mindsets and their intellectual, inputs. So let me introduce my fellow panelists, you all. I have with me the lady who everybody knows. I call her a firebrand chief engineer. For a simple reason that she has been. Of course, we always been talking about being activists in merchant navy. They're activists who are silent. Activists who work their heart out, but don't come into a flashlight. There are people who make subtle differences in working cultures on board for women, but don't brag about it in the system. And one such panelist today, and of course a chief engineer, is Suniti Bala. Suniti Bala is a great example, of all the hurdles what she has passed, because these are the first generation kind of women seafarers. Why we call them first generation seafarers? Because they're the one who went on board and without knowing, without having proper equipment, proper things, proper procedures. And they really then took up the challenge of coming back to the shore and making it happen for other. So she is that kind of woman, despite being of course, India's first chief engineer. I don't like to say these words. Pardon me for that, because I don't want to demean the second, and I don't want to say the word the first lady chief engineer also, because I don't want to demean a gentleman. So she's a chief engineer, of course, very well qualified, competent, has run vessels, has managed engine rooms with men around, yes, and spanners and nuts and bolts, and you can name it. And also, she's also been she's also extra first class engineer. So when you are extra first class engineer, I think gender and the first and second, goes far behind, right? She's the DMET passed out. I just met her this afternoon, her senior, who was about 4 years senior to her, and he was talking about her. Of course, that's not an introduction part, so don't worry about it. But he did recognize you as one of the very freshers in the college, and in DMET college, and working towards her goal of becoming engineer. She also sailed on board SCI vessel Albert Eka, where she became a chief engineer, and she managed that vessel. She's also a field surveyor of India. She's a co-founder of. See, what happens is, when these women, they work for themselves is fine. Now the entire fraternity is working for them or in them. Initially, they had to do it themselves. She's a founder member of something called as International Women Seafarers Foundation. She did not join there to make activism or kind of things like that, but she actually came into the role of playing the gender equality and getting the voices for the women up. So she works at the moment for a leading shipping company. She is speaking in the capacity of being a co-founder of Idle herself. Welcome, Suniti. Thank you very much for joining. I really appreciate you taking time out, because I'm sure that you are involved in Maritime SheEO conference much deeper than me, being a very subject very close to your heart as well, and you are taking part in multiple sessions. So I have a second panelist with me is Mohammed Haji. I'm introducing him first, then Muhammad Amin, who's from the West Marine, for a particular reason. The reason is Muhammad Amin is of my age, so we are facing up, and Muhammad Haji is going to be here for next 30 years in shipping. So you got to be taking this agenda of women seafarer, Maritime SheEO right on your shoulders for a long years to come. So you get a first chance to introduce as well. So he belongs to a company called SHM Ship Care. He's been to various countries heading their company businesses. At the moment, of course, the business is owned by a family, but he works as an employee, vice president, and he's really worked hard looking after the product development and things like that. And that's why you have the panel here, because SHM Ship Care is also a prime manufacturer of safety equipments and personal safety gear like fireman's outfit and the ELSA kits and immersion suits and things like that. So that is why we wanted to rope them as well, because they are the people who are with the mindset of product designing, have come into the merchant shipping, and supplying gears on board. So welcome, Mohammed Haji. Thank you very much for joining this session. You are a young, bright kid, I must say, a man rather. So welcome to this show and a small panel discussion. The next guest is Mohammed Amin. Mohammed Amin requires no introduction, because the amount of spread his company has, in the merchant shipping is really amazing. It's not amazing because, he's done, of course, a great job there, but also his name. Company's name is Best Marine. So when I was introducing him initially in our discussions, I said, you don't need any more introduction. 2 letters are enough. 2 words are enough. Best and Marine. And that's it. You don't need to be introduced anymore because it's already on superlative degree. But anyway, to formally introduce more, Amin Bhai is very close to us. When I broached subject with him, initially he jumped at the offer of discussing because, Best Marine manufactures something like 2 lakh boiler suits every year and supply to the ship. That's their reach in the market today. So every year 2 lakh boiler suits. We have a seafarers from going from India is about 4 lakh seafarers. So he's got 50% by market share. Also, he must be supplying abroad, some foreign companies as well, and also go to the ships. So we have a person with the, who has got a wide reach in the market, not only merchant ships, also the boating companies, also the offshore industry. He does serve all the offshore industry worldwide. Idea was to get him on board as well because he's the main supplier to all main, ship management companies who have got more than 500, 600 ships to manage. Man, companies like V-Ships, Scorpio, MSC, MMSI, and Mitsui OSK Lines. So welcome, Amin Bhai. Thank you very much for joining this at very short notice. Same both to you, Haji and Amin. I really thank you both because I know you guys are busy, but this is a subject which, I wanted you all to speak on. And Suniti is here with me to pick your right brains at this time because, there could be difficult questions. Please answer them to the best of your ability, not in the sense to, but to promote women seafaring, console them. We will take care of them. They're not lesser strength women. They're taking care of us more than 50% of our life. But on the ship, I still consider them new. I still consider them very young in gender. But when we talk about gender equality, we must give them equal opportunity. So personal protective equipment, that is safety or personal working gear, both are kind of things that which are required to be discussed here. Suniti, you want to say something? I would ask you to give you the floor to you to speak about yourself a bit and about the subject, and then Haji and Amin Saab can speak. Please, Suniti.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and especially for the extensive, introduction. I'm flattened, and actually, the topic is also very close to my heart because these were the things, like you mentioned. We have been pioneers, so we used to think we are not getting it because industry is not used to us, and definitely not size. How to expect them to, all of a sudden manufacture sizes for us? But even 20 years, 2 decades, things looks like pretty same, and not much change. And I'm so glad and thankful to Mr. Mohammed and Mr. Amit that they have joined us here. And it looks like we together are going to brainstorm and find some solutions, at least a pathway where industry can move that way. At least some guidance we can, bring on. So coming to the topic, uh, what we see, I can definitely share my personal experience, and also speaking on behalf of IWS, where we know the challenges, where all the girls speak, and it looks like, and that's the reason I'm saying it is still very same problem. Nothing has moved much in last 2 decades. So when we talk about the safety gears, now if we say it cannot be very categorically gender problem, maybe it's more about the size problem. So even men can be of our sizes, so it's not that they are always big, but the challenges are with the small sizes. So like I had the foot size of 4, you can say 36.5, and I never got safety shoes of that size on board. So now we can categorize the two problem. One is, it's not that it is not made at all, because some manufacturers do make these small size personal protective equipment. But what happens? These are not supplied on board. So the whole supply chain dealing personal safety gears provided on board is different. It becomes a lot easier. In fact, that would be my suggestion to the girls if they are watching, that at least for time being, till industry sorts out this question, for time being they can carry their safety stuff from shore, because from shore they might get their size. At least they can reach out to suppliers like Mr. Amin and Mr. Mohammed, and they can help us out, and then they can bring it on board. But what happens, after some time, these safety gears are tend to deteriorate in condition, and then it needs a replacement, and that's where the main problem comes, getting on board. And that's where would be my question to Mr. Mohammed and Amin. But to describe the problem, I can tell you that even though, gloves, those gloves are standard size. It's like, one size fits all. Doesn't matter. And there you can see, your finger, you cannot find out it's, this long, you're having your gloves, and working with those gloves, I would not say it's even safe. But we need to wear because we need to wear, because there is no options. So when we talk about gloves, when we talk about shoes, and I can tell you gumboots. So there have been times that even the smallest gumboot was provided to me on board, because they're used maybe not on daily basis, maybe once or twice or thrice in a contract. But and usually they are, we were using, I have sailed on tankers, we were using for the ballasting inspections. They are not very they are not done on daily basis. But when you have to go there, what to do? Those gumboots are so big, and I used to fill in racks there to fill in the space, do some adjustment. But if you talk in hard reality, is it safe option? Definitely not. And why? Because you will not get the gumboot size, of your requirement. So what I would like to ask, in fact, Mr. Amin and Mr. Mohammed, how these sizes are defined when you supply, and what can be done? Because I know there can be sizes, or you can maybe enlighten us if there are no sizes at all to, for that smaller, to accommodate the smaller people. And if there are, then why they are not available on board? And it goes for even immersion suit, life jackets, you name anything, I will tell you whether, it fits or not. So yeah, I think I will give.
So who goes first? Amin, who goes first? Amin Bhai or Mohammad Haji?
Yes, good evening.
Good
Good evening,
evening.
sir.
Like she said, regarding the coveralls, we manufacture polo suits for ladies. But problem again is when the women seafarers are joining the ship, we are not given enough notice, first and foremost. And women safety shoes, they are available in India. There are people who manufacture. But again, like how you said, we don't keep stocks because it has a shelf life. And again, the companies don't give us advance notice. So we have developed a website, our own website, where we are keeping a lot of items on sale. And there we are going to have a full range of ladies polo suits and ladies safety shoes. Gumboots is still difficult because in India, I don't think anybody makes those small size gumboots. Either it's for kids or it's for men. So the mid range is still not available in India. So this has to be looked into. But I can definitely try and get some source to see what best we can fit into that.
Hi, everyone.
Ajay,
I can speak with regards to the LSA equipment, which is being used on board in terms of jackets, suits. So again, as ma'am has rightly identified, it's a procurement issue. It's a supply chain issue. It is not a manufacturing problem, because I'll give an example for life jackets and fireman suits. These are all mandated by the SOLAS regulation. And all these equipments have to be certified by some agency before they are supplied on ship and considered fit for use. So the SOLAS regulations, if you will see them in detail, there are certain testing parameters for these LS equipment. And the testing parameters, like the donning test, is how you wear the life jacket and you have to jump in water. So the SOLAS mandates that the test subjects have to be men and women both. You cannot just simply test it on a single gender and get it approved. So even from a regulatory standpoint, there is consideration given on both the genders, which are required to be wearing these safety equipments. But yes, when we look at life jackets, they are used on cruise ships. So the regulation is made with a perspective that there is people from male and female who would be wearing them, whether they are tourists on ships or otherwise. But when we look at coveralls, we look at gumboots, we look at safety shoes. They are again primarily made for people working on ships, and there is definitely some improvement from a regulatory standpoint to mandate that if you are manufacturing a certain kind of a gear, and if you want to get it approved as per the SOLAS standard, it should be mandated to be tested for people of both genders. But then again, we come back to the supply chain problem, which needs to be addressed. As even Amin Saab said, the notice has to be given. If the procurement is not going to ask suppliers such as ours that these are the sizes that they want, it will be very difficult for us to anticipate that and then supply it on board. And usually, safety gear that is bought, they are bought in bulk. They are not bought in a smaller quantity, especially when a shipping company is buying them. So differentiating in terms of sizes is seldom done. This is from experience. So yes, there is a regulatory improvement that can be done and a procurement issue that can be improved. If the demand is there, there is no way, it will not be supplied. It is not in the interest of any manufacturers to not cater to that demand.
And that's where the issue is. The demand is very less because the participation of women seafarers is very less. And that's where it is overlooked. And that's a challenge we face.
But it is increasing nowadays. Nowadays, I have seen of late, a lot of companies are asking for ladies' garments and all. But again, like Haji Bhai said, okay, the demand comes very late. That is, we don't get enough time to manufacture the garments.
Yes, and the demand you're talking about is to be supplied on board, or the ones you're talking about where the seafarer is going to join and she will carry with her?
From our side, it is for the joining. When they are joining, we are given a 1 day notice, 2 day notice. This is the measurement. Now you have to arrange for the supplies. So on-board supply, we do for a lot of companies, but no specific order is given for ladies' dresses.
Yeah, and that's where I was saying that, joining part is more easier because you can still maybe have something left in your shelf and they can procure. So what I see, there is an improvement area for the joining and a huge improvement area on board. So maybe at least for the joining, since we have started talking about joining, maybe you can suggest. Now you're saying the short notice, actually things are that way. Short notice, because that is shipping. You must have seen. So there is, though we agree companies are supposed to tell in advance if they are planning in advance, because maybe this girl seafarer will not join this ship, maybe some other ship. So they can definitely, inform you in advance. But what else can be done so that, you have that kind of PPE availability at least at shore? Because if I talk about my experience, at least in my times, India didn't have anything. So I was told usually by my company that time that the agent will, help you in getting it before joining the ship. And at least in Europe, it was easily found. But again, my challenge that time that I couldn't get it on board, and that is something, so there are 2-3 angles to the problem. This problem, one is when you are joining, because I feel that is more easier. If girl can carry it, then she can even, test and everything fits or not, and then she can carry it. Another problem getting on board, but now even at the shore, how to make sure that even the short notice, is not completely spoiling the safety measures, because usually then they have to join and they are looking forward to get something on board, which like I mentioned, is a bigger problem. they don't get it on board. So any
Like you said, na, we can talk to all the companies now since these suggestions are coming up. Okay, Baba, we can maintain stocks, a limited number of stocks for women, especially some sizes. And safety shoes also, like you said, your size was, you said 4.5.
a 4, yeah,
4,
it's
yeah.
37 you can say, yeah.
Yeah. So basically in India, the women sizes start from 5 and we keep stock for size 5. But anything lower than that has to be specially manufactured. Very difficult.
My whole life I have worn size 5 only.
Yeah, that is the, because you don't have the molds. You don't have the molds, anything lesser than that. And it doesn't fall in the child category also. So there's
No.
always a problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you said, now we can discuss with companies and we can maintain stocks. And like we are planning to keep in stocks for online sale also. This is something which can be, yes, a lot of improvement can be done.
Yeah.
So in fact, maybe now this is a point for the all the shipping companies, the employers to make a note. Maybe, yeah, we will also make a note of it. At least try to inform you in advance. That might help. And then definitely for you to have some stock. But do you really need the companies to tell you that? Or you can keep it on your own?
We can keep it on, but then it becomes dead stock because most of the companies don't employ women. So many companies are not employing, and a very minuscule number. So keeping such a small number of sizes, it becomes dead stock after some time, and everything has a shelf life. So we can start talking to companies and asking them, "Okay, Baba, give us a plan. Maybe next 4 months, 3 months, how many ladies join us, and maybe we can keep stocks basis on that. A little deterioration here and there is manageable because we know some risk factor are there."
Okay.
No, absolutely right. I mean, what you guys are discussing is so relevant at this point in time. I mean, Suniti, that terminology of standard size and sorry. I mean, what will seafarer do who's coming to your store with the company's kind of a check that she has to be given 3 boiler suits and 1 parka, 1 winter gear and things like that. So for her, when you say, it will fit you, don't worry, you go home and try. I mean, do you guys have fitting rooms? May I ask you this question, please? Do you have fitting rooms in your stores?
Sir, for the last
Please
2
go
years,
ahead.
nobody has come.
And that
We
talks
are
about the
delivering.
number
आप
of
कोविड
seafarers,
से
yeah.
वो तो आप कोविड से बच गए अभी सर कोविड हट गया है इंडिया से
We have
बता दो और मैं आपको I mean I'm saying in Hindi for a simple reason because there is no word parallel to गुजारिश. Request is nowhere close to it. और मेरी आपसे एक गुजारिश है, sir, every woman seafarer comes to your store to buy a polo, so she tries it out and she takes it on board. She will really bless you in her mind because she will be safe, number one. We don't give them that opportunity. I mean, I know, sorry, difficult question, but do have this. I mean, I would have suggestion for Haji also. Haji, I mean, you rightly pointed out about the test subjects or this thing. He's right. I mean, you are the lead manufacturer of safety equipment. You have every right to write to Indian government. You should take lead in this. I mean, I'm thinking of personal experience, of the pilot safety point of view. So we always think that why should I write? Let somebody else write. There are 120 manufacturers in the world of EEB, of immersion suit. Why should I write? But then somebody has to, like Suniti or like Sodali Banerjee as well, when went on board for the first time. They were the ones to understand situation, as to what is happening with the girl cadets, what will happen. Came back, told the girls, don't do this, don't do that. In n number of sessions they did for the girls first. Now is the time for them to turn to men. Boss, now please support. So you please write to DGC, write to the IMO. You can write to anybody in the world. Please have the test subject done. Performance standards are set. Performance standard, do not say the gender. Please mention gender as the testing must be done by male or male as well as female. So they are fit to be. And of course, you to supply directly on board vessel. But put up a line to a procurement department when next time MSC asks you to supply 10 immersion suits. Please ask them, sizes, kindly specify women's sizes if you have a women's seafarer on board. Let them say that they don't have a women's seafarer on board. It's a shame to them. Not joking. It's a shame to them. Let them say it on mail. We don't have a women's seafarer on board this ship. Okay, fine, sir. You can reply them. Thank you very much. If they have, let them take pains to ask master, please tell me Mrs. So and so's immersion suit size. And that girl falls in the water will be floating inside the swimming pool, immersion suit as well, as well as the ocean. So the same with the fireman's outfit. I mean, I really not only feel pain with this situation, but I always think that we are so kind of narrow-minded. We don't open up our minds and don't use our power to do a kind of a benchmarking thing in the world. I'm sure Haji will agree with me that no supplier would have written to IMO about the gender specific immersion suits and firefighters outfit. Please do write.
I doubt that. But
Yeah,
I have a
please do.
question for Suniti ma'am, especially for the LSA equipment which we are manufacturing, say fireman suits, immersion suits, life jackets. These are usually made as per universal sizes, which are meant to fit men and women, because when the testing happens, the universal sizes small, medium, large, XL are what are being used. And men and women of different heights and weights are specified when the testing happens. So from a manufacturer standpoint, what are the, how do we make sure that we are providing the right fit for universal sized products for women? Maybe you can shed some light on that. In terms of an immersion suit or a firefighter's outfit, what is it that a women seafarer would be more comfortable, and those kind of modifications can be provided in the equipments that we manufacture?
It's
Today at the
actually not
moment the
about
standard. I'll just take 2 minutes to answer him. Then Suniti probably person, but she's also in the safety and quality department, so she's very close to the subject than me. But my instinct tells me that there are no specified standards now for the women seafarers captains. It pains me because you have every other brand which showcases women clothes in the shopping malls. Specifically write about sizes, things like that. We are so cold towards the issue. And where the safety is concerned, I asked before this session, 2 days back, I asked somebody like diving company, do you have women divers? They say, yes, sir, we have women divers. So where are they from? They're from Vietnam, they're from China. I said, damn good. You have a specialized diving suit to them. He said we had to manufacture them. And since we manufacture ourselves, we can customize them. So there's an advantage of a diving company who's manufacturing the clothes and giving to the women divers, because women divers are few in number, 10, 15, 20, maybe US has more, a pleasure diving is more, commercial diving maybe lesser. Then what I'm trying to say is that you take pains now and take this thing away from this conference. Mentioning this conference's name in your IMO letter, please specify this to me as to how are you planning to establish in coming years with increasing number of women seafarers, and mention about the SDG 5, which is women empowerment and gender equality. With this goal, and we're trying to increase the women seafarers count on board vessel. How are these vital safety issues? Are you going to wait for some woman to die out of fighting fire because her fireman's outfit was left behind her when she was fighting the fire? Thank you very much. So, Suniti, please.
No, Captain Sabi, actually, you have spoken almost my words. And I was going to say exactly same thing to Mr. Mohammed, that it's not about comfort, because those gears are worn for some purpose. And apart from those work purpose, the most important part is the safety. So when you say LSA, those are itself for safety purposes. When Captain Gajanan mentioned about the firefighting suit. Now, this is, you are going to rescue someone and you don't want to hamper your own safety while doing that. And, if it gives a negative bias, people on board try not to have women, as a firefighting team, because they think, she might not be able to do the job. Apart from the bias, also the safety gear, because it's not fitting her properly. So we really need to work towards, first of all, changing the bias here that, and if you ask me honestly, it's not even about gender. It is about the small sizes. Even men can be of those sizes. And I do not know how they work. So like Mr. Mohammed, you mentioned about the LSA. So it's not about comfort. You will find that size only. And there is so much of variety in the globe of the human sizes that how can we have one fit all for everyone? Forget about, even, women here. So many times it is not even fitting the guys. It's just that we do not face those emergency at very frequent level and touch wood, and that's a really great thing. But if you had to touch, then we will find, more gaps there. So we really need to look into to the matter where it can be solved from the root, not from the upper level only. And that brings me to my question back, in fact, to Mr. Mohammed, you and Mr. Amin, that we discussed just now about the shore procurement, but what happens at onboard procurement? Because what I know, all sorts of company, they are having some kind of supplier, and those supplier are usually sending some kind of catalog of manufacturer catalog, and then they have those sizes. How those sizes are finding their place in catalog? Maybe you can throw some light there. Why the smaller sizes are not there? And whenever at all, even for the normal size, many times you will not find with the supplier, and you can get all other normal sizes but not this particular size, and you have to wait. By the time you get it on board, your time is up and you will be signing off. So that kind of scenario. So to discuss more about onboard issue, what can be done? I mean, why, how, and maybe if we discuss how, then we can find why and some solution.
So I would like to pitch in first. When we look at the LSA items, say a firefighter's outfit and an immersion suit and a life jacket, when the procurement happens, there is no size that is mandated or asked for when these items are being purchased. These, whenever an inquiry comes, which we are supplying for, it's always either for an adult life jacket, an adult immersion suit, or a child immersion suit. That is how the procurement cycle is at the current stage, and that is how manufacturing also is at the current stage. That an adult size may come in 3 different variations of medium, large, XL, but and when the inquiry comes for purchase, it is always an adult size that is asked for. It might not be the same for boiler suits and safety shoes, but for the LSA equipment I'm talking about. And to be very honest, this discussion never happens that, okay, if we are supplying the fireman suit or the immersion suit, what are the sizes that you're looking for? Do you need, 5 small and do you need like 10 medium? This conversation never happens. It's always an adult immersion suit, 100 numbers. Do you have? Yes, we have, we supplied. So this conversation needs to happen, which I think would improve the procurement process, which I would say that we are partially responsible as well. At the same time, the procurement end also is responsible. So that's a very valid point you've highlighted.
So to understand better, when you get a query of adult, nothing mentioned of small, medium, and large, what you send usually? Medium.
It is large size is usually what we send for fire suits and immersion suits. That is usually
Yeah, exactly. So I actually didn't know there are 3 varieties. I've always seen large.
okay.
That is my personal experience, and I
Yeah.
think that is experienced by all most of the girls, because they are also seeing same thing, because that is a usual practice of doing it. And that, thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed, because that was quite enlightening, that query is not coming and it's a both way.
Correct.
You can also ask, what exact size. We have 3 varieties. Do you want, if there are 5, maybe you would like to have 1 small, 3 medium, and 2 large, just
Yes.
to
Please
categorize.
please add a line to it. We have specially. I mean, once you manufacture the specially, women's seafarers sizes immersion suits and fire. By the way, it's fireman's outfit, nahi hai, firefighter outfit.
Firefighters.
Let's be gender equal there as well. So we don't call it a batsman these days. We call it a batter and a bowler. So let's call it a seafarer, a firefighter, not fireman. Anyway, this part. So you can write to them and please add a question. And as a doing credit to this conference, do you have a woman seafarer on board? Let him say no. I'm telling you, his head will hang in shame. You are asking, that means there are other ships who are, other superintendents are smarter than him. And they're telling him, yes, we have a woman seafarer, please supply, extra small or, whatever, size. So be that way. Sorry, Suniti, go ahead. I just want to make this point.
No,
That
that
do
was
you have a woman
fantastic what you are
seafarer?
saying.
Question must be asked.
In fact, for that matter, you mentioned about firemen. I always think, manhole door on all the tanks, why? Yeah, but anyway, coming back to the discussion. So thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed. Maybe something you can help us definitely in asking, and I will request same thing to Mr. Amin. And now at least I want to check with all other, PPE. For example, I spoke about this gloves, which is, really difficult. Different, there are so many varieties of gloves, hand for the work purpose, different for the different kind of works, and how these catalogs are taking care of these sizes for these kind of, whether you talk about helmet, your gloves, or even boiler suits. And boiler suits had a very typical problem, if you buy any boiler suit in Europe, they have a cut at the side, and that becomes very embarrassing, at least for the women seafarer. And I'm not sure if you have heard about it. I used to carry my personal, sewing, small needle and sewing to stitch it, that thing up. Whether you get these kind of queries or not, are there, how these are being defined in the catalog, which can take care of, at least for the boiler suit, I will say women seafarer, but all other things is just a matter of size.
Yeah, so like you said, very enlightening for me also. It makes me also realize that Baba, we are a little far behind as far as women garments are concerned. So we'll definitely work on it, and we'll have our own size chart for women. And like Captain Sab said, we should ask the customers whenever there is a query, Baba, tell us if there is a woman seafarer on board, so that we can take care of the sizes after taking consultation. And we'll keep a few designs ready, like you said, side cut and all. So that should not be actually in a garment. So that can be taken care of on the manufacturing stage. But we should definitely now ask customers if there's any women seafarer on board. And we'll have a specific size chart made in the next couple of days, and we'll put it live on our website so that people can go and check that out also.
That would be really wonderful, if you can actually include that we have sizes, even small sizes, which can fit all, including women seafarers.
Definitely. Within the next 1 week, we're going to have a complete size chart, and we'll start talking to customers also. No problems.
That is really great. At least we have some point to start with, because this is something, unspoken topic, and I'm really glad and thankful to Sanjam for, bringing this topic in forum like this, where it can be addressed. And that's why, initially I mentioned we need to brainstorm together to find some kind of solution, at least some beginning. There is a long way to go, but at least we can start somewhere. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, truly. Thank you very much. I think so we already extended some 3-4 minutes to our session, but it's really enlightening. I mean, discussion was required for a particular point of view of right fit, but also to bring this topic. I mean, our panel is only 1 woman and 3 men. That is not an equal opportunity. But so next time, you can have one of your family women joining the show as a family business. So that will be even greater, because then she would understand the problems. I mean, not for the right fit kind of show, because I think we will solve this problem by the next time, and we will not have this issue. We discuss, but of course, some other issue might come up, which needs to be discussed with the manufacturer. So it will be a great thing to have one of the female partners of yours in this show, because then that will be a real right message that will go across. My head is full of ideas when I talk in these shows, because there's so much we can do. There's so much scope to not only protect them but provide them. We don't need protection from us, but they need the
I was
provision.
going to say that.
So that is very important. And with this thought, I think I should end this session. Thank you, Sanjay Gupta, and all the international participants, viewers, and international crowd who's watching this Maritime SheEO conference, making really empowering women, discussing their show and monitoring their progress. There are many people who are involved. I am mentored to many girls today entering career. So I would like to put on record that I'm really thankful to all those mentors who are spending their time, effort, energy in getting these girls on board, giving them opportunity. Not only that, monitoring their careers, advising them, and also providing them. So thank you so much on this small note and good takeaways by Mohammad Haji and Azamin Saab has promised to make the chart in 7 days time. That's a very commendable thing. So we are leaving the session with the fruitful results, with targets, KPIs, and everything with what Suniti has been dealing in her leading shipping company day in, day out. So let's end this the session here. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Great session.
Thank you, Arvind bhai. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Have a good evening.
Good evening. Thank you.